core principles final project, starting with how's my heart. With it being the end of the year, it's definitely very stressful. I am overwhelmed with finals and a lot of presentations, but I'm trying to just focus on the positives of getting to go home soon, the weather getting a lot nicer out, and just getting to spend time with friends and family. Three art experiences I chose to highlight were first a How's Your Heart activity. Second was a reflection on the artist Kendi Wiley's art that we took a look at. And third was an activity following some exploration of those Indigenous boarding schools that we looked into. These definitely got me out of my comfort zone as I'm not a super creative person. The Indigenous land acknowledgement I chose to highlight was the Meskwaki tribe. Their annual powwows taught me a lot. I honestly did not know what a powwow was before this class, and their commitment to preserving tradition through song, dance, and language is really inspiring considering all of the challenges that this group has had to overcome. So to the left are 10 readings that really stuck out to me, but the one that stuck with me most was chapter 5, specifically Angela's story that was entitled Baseball, where she expressed concern about being the only African American in her little league. And the students were really able to just critically respond to her with similar concerns, and you could see the established foundation of trust and communication that Ms. Cohey had fostered in her classroom environment. For the Reflection Inquiry project, this was my identity collage from part B, and it really just helped me discover who I am and what's important to me. Additionally, part C really unearthed the privileges that I do obtain and the work that I will need to do to be able to relate to my students that I don't share many backgrounds with to make sure that I'm supporting everybody. For keynote presentations, Dr. Ashley Ryla in special education stuck out to me. My mother is a special education teacher of nearly 30 years, and her points talking about the general education teachers being the ones to refer students for special education services stuck out to me. So it just really is important to be educating ourselves and acknowledging that students spend a lot of their time in our classroom. So we, in a sense, are going to be special education teachers as well. The core principles for the first four keynotes, some synthesis or big takeaways that I had were really about elevating and advocating for our students and partaking in our own ongoing critical self-reflection to make sure that we're becoming the best educators possible and partaking in that justice-oriented education with a sociocultural approach. The second half of the keynote, so the last four, really stuck out to me in the sense of how important it is to get to know each of your students on an individual level, supporting their identities and lived experiences, really highlighting those instead of suppressing them, and using core principles as a guide for teaching philosophy. In my future classroom, to really get to know the curriculum, I plan to familiarize myself in the beginning by looking at student data and progression, identifying some learning objectives, and creative ways that I can integrate criticality into those, and reflect on how I can serve all of my students of diverse backgrounds and abilities within these standards. Finally, for community, I really took a lot of inspiration from Ms. Cohey with her home visits. That's absolutely something I would like to implement in the future, as well as having students learn from each other, their lived experiences, focusing on that sociocultural learning approach. And I also think an iceberg activity to explore each student's individual identities and make them feel seen within the classroom would really just support a positive and cohesive learning